Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Court of Swords. What's going on, Adam? Your hair looks nice. And now, is this a fuchsia? What's the proper color here? What are we talking?
I don't know. It depends. It's so hard talking about color when there's like multiple screens. Like what you might be seeing as pink, someone else is going to see it as more purple. I think magenta is a good stand-in.
Okay.
Fuchsia, maybe. It'll fade out. I haven't given it a good wash yet. But yeah, we just redyed it. Turned out pretty good.
Okay. All
Pretty
right.
happy with it.
Nice. Dan's chair is
Thank
really
you for-
excited about it. Dan, I think you're on your room mic or something. It's picking up everything. If you want to change it real quick.
What?
That was special. I was going to make a joke about how many trolls they had to kill Adam to get your hair that color, but Dan's chair just ruined it. You know, that's all I got. That's
Yep.
my joke for the day. So,
That's fair.
Adam, what have you been
Good
up to
one.
the past week? We're just going to jump into it.
I was in Seattle for a couple of days at the end of last week doing some photography stuff. I did some cosplay photos for some friends of mine. That was cool. And I went and saw Ad Astra, which I feel like, despite being a big, expensive movie, I feel like a lot of people didn't even know that it existed. Like it feels to me like it was advertised so minimally. But it's that one with Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones in it, and Brad Pitt goes to space to like save his dad. It's not very good. It was pretty like whatever. It felt like a movie that they almost finished and then had to try to finish several times, and then they like ran it by a bunch of audiences and then they refinished it again. It was pretty I don't want to say it was disappointing because I didn't expect much going into it because, again, I forgot that it even existed. But I was like, oh, yeah, space movie. I haven't seen this. I'll go watch it. And it was pretty whatever. Not a great film, but still,
Yeah, I saw
nice
it.
to go to the movies. Did you see it, Dan?
Yeah, the first half was good, but then the second half
Yeah.
it started falling apart for me. I don't know. It was like two different movies, the first half and the second half.
Right? Yeah, it was so weird. It felt so like, and that's what I meant, where it felt like the first half of the movie, they were like, yeah, we're going to make this movie, and it's going to be kind of like Sunlight and kind of like The Martian and kind of like Contact maybe, and it's got this like kind of mystery thing going on, and you're interested, and maybe it's Interstellar, and then it just gets like weaker and weaker and weaker until you get to the end, and you're like, okay, well, I guess it's over. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
I
was the whole
guess
thing.
Brad Pitt can't carry every movie, I guess is what that. Well, not
He was
necessarily
good.
carry,
Like, he
but like
was-
bring audiences. into
Yeah, like he was pretty good. But yeah, I had a mild case of Neil deGrasse Tysonism near the end of the movie.
Oh, where you're just
Because-
like, this wouldn't work in space.
And I had to look this up after. So there's a moment where
Is it a spoiler?
they're
Do we need spoiler here?
they're in space. Nope, no spoiler here.
They're in space? What?
I know.
Jesus.
And it's a no gravity situation, right? You can see like one of the characters is floating. Something sad happens, and Brad Pitt sheds a single manly tear, and it slides down his face.
It doesn't go blue.
Yeah, well, it would just like.
and so it would just pool on the surface of his eyeball until he blinked it off. And so I looked it up afterwards. I was like, that's some bullshit. And I looked it up, and apparently even Brad Pitt thought that was bullshit because in the scene he got overwhelmed or whatever and like cried a real tear. And the director and Brad Pitt said, we got to do it again. And the director's like, what? And he's like, we gotta do it again. I cried. That wouldn't happen in space. And the director was like, no, it was good. We're going to keep it. And apparently they like got in a fight about it.
Wow.
Because Brad Pitt was like, no, let me do it again.
That
I
Brad Pitt,
ruined the
what a
shot. We're in space. And the director was like, no, it was too beautiful. We're keeping it. Which I'm on Brad Pitt's side. They should have reshot that take.
Yeah, Brad Pitt wins
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I agree.
That's right.
I agree. That director doesn't know what he's
That's-
talking about.
That's all I'm going to remember about that movie. Like in a year, I will forget that it ever even came out.
It was too beautiful.
It's too beautiful.
And while Brad Pitt's like, we're in fucking space. We're making a space movie. Like,
The equivalent here would be like if an actor farted in the middle of a take and the director would not let them redo it. They're like, no, it's funny. I like it. And they're like, this is embarrassing. I don't want
Am
that
I
in the
the-
movie. And the director's like, nope, you're keeping
Am I
it.
directing this movie?
Yeah, it would stay. It stays every time. 10 out of 10.
That's a fart. It stays. It's funny.
Because
Fart. Come on.
the documentary of my life story as a director would be the fart stays in the shot.
That's the
Or what? There's one. Was it Charlie Chaplin? Like the kid stays in the picture or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a
right.
docu pic or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just actually funny that you mentioned that. I just watched it. It was a special or not a special, but a series that was from. I didn't know it was from 2015, but it was about the astronauts, the Russian and American astronauts that spent a year in space, spent a year on the space station.
Yeah.
So they could study like what the effects on the body and blah blah blah. And I saw like them eating and them like he was like trying to get this chicken with sauce out of a bag, and he got it, and like it like sprayed everywhere, but it was like perfect little globes of
food
sauce
that
went everywhere.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how the importance of like in low gravity, he made sure they always said low gravity, never said no gravity or 0 G or whatever, because he was, you're orbiting, so you have a little bit of gravity, but you can still like float and stuff.
Yeah.
But he talked about surface tension, like how important surface tension is.
Yes. Yeah.
And like the friction that makes things stick together with low gravity and shit like that. And that just reminded me, the tear reminded me of that.
Was that on Netflix? Where'd you watch that? That sounds good.
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
Yeah. At least where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool story. It's like 11 episodes. I think they're half an hour, 40 minutes long, something like that. And man, it's just like you watch a flick about like what was that Sandra Bullock joint where she was out in space? Yeah, there you go.
Gravity, yeah.
And you get like this sense of like, watching it, you're like, oh man, how lonely. But then you watch like an actual astronaut out there, like 3 of them were on the space station like for a very long time, hundreds of days in a row. Like usually it's like a crew of like 5 or more, but during turnover times, it was like just 3 of them on the space station. And it was just like, you get the sense of like, man, how the fuck do you not go crazy?
Yeah, it's pretty bleak.
Yeah. See, I like movies that do that, where they're just like, and I think that Ad Astra, there's a little bit of this where it's like, is something weird happening, like something supernatural or paranatural or whatever? Like, is it about aliens? Is there ghosts? What the fuck's going on? Or is it just space madness? And I love that shit. Sunlight does some of that too, where it's just like, yep, the captain's gone, space kooky, and now you got to get out of there.
Sunlight's a really good movie.
Yeah.
I highly recommend.
Well, that
Sunlight
means
is a
they
good
used to call
movie.
it Cabin
Even
Fever, right?
Even if you describe, it's Cabin Fever, exactly. If you describe the plot of Sunlight to someone, they will not want to watch it though, because it sounds so stupid. Like, the sun is going out, and so we take all of our nuclear material and we put it on a spaceship, and we're gonna crash it into the sun and
that sounds
make
great.
the sun turn back on.
You sold me.
Like,
I'll
it's
watch that.
just,
I'd watch that.
It's
I did
such
watch
a
that.
bad premise.
That makes
but the
sense to
movie's
me.
very good. Yeah.
Well, and people
I
don't
think they did something
understand.
like that in Star Trek.
Yeah.
It constantly astounds me, like how even I catch myself like having to remember how the actual size of things, like a nuclear bomb is on the sun is like
Nothing.
like taking a mosquito full of blood and restarting your heart with it. Like
Yeah, right. It's so silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think whoever came up with that plan has space madness.
Yeah. I've got space
Yeah. But I gotta say, like, I do those moments, like, it annoyed me in Ad Astra, Brad Pitt's like weird tear or whatever. But I have a real soft spot for like bloopers in movies. I love blooper reels. I just love watching them.
Dude,
I love like those
you gotta
little
watch-
stories about things.
You got to watch the Anchorman
so
bloopers.
good.
Have you seen the Anchorman 2
Yes,
bloopers?
right?
Those are the best.
So
That's the
my
best.
favorite blooper is Colonel Kurtz at the end of Apocalypse Now, as he's like, there's this intense scene where like he's dying and his like insane cult he's built. Like if he dies, there's this worry they're gonna go crazy and kill the main character. The main character is like in the room and they're talking, and he's laying there, he's all sweaty and he's like dying of whatever horrible disease he has, and he's delivering his like that speech from the end of it that everybody knows, that like the horror, and he stops in the middle of the line and just goes and he coughs, and there's a long moment and he's like, I swallowed a bug. And it's just it's so good because it
I've never
just takes
seen that.
all the tension, just yanks the rug out from under it, and he's just like, he doesn't even break character, he's just like, ugh, swallowed a bug.
I'll have to
God,
watch
I
that.
love
Feel
hearing-
worth it.
Some of my favorite
Yeah.
actor stories are Marlon Brando stories, where
Mhm.
like one of my favorites is when was in Godfather, and the Luca Brasi, the big wrestler dude that they hired to be in the flick, could not get his fucking lines down, or could not give it a natural delivery. So when he was delivering his lines, and you see Marlon Brando as the Godfather's face, and he's like that. That was like Marlon Brando's reaction to his lines, and he thought so low of him that because Marlon Brando barely ever learns his lines because he's that kind of whatever. But like he had post-it notes on Luca Brasi's face with his lines on it, just stuck to his fucking forehead.
Yeah.
It was great. Oh God, it's so good. And that's why they put in that scene later where Luca Brasi is outside practicing his lines, so they understand, or it makes sense why he can't fucking talk like a normal human being.
Makes sense. I gotta watch The Godfather
I
still,
love that
so
shit.
none of those references means
so
anything
good.
to me.
Whoa.
We've talked
Now,
about this
hold on.
before. This is
Now,
known
hold on a minute.
information. This is
No,
out there.
but I want
It's
to bring this
timely
up
given
again
a
because
tweet
it's
from earlier.
exactly. You were saying Aurelian hasn't seen the original Star Wars, and you're like outraged, but you haven't seen Godfather, like arguably one of the best movies of all time.
Nah,
I mean,
it's overrated. I just haven't seen it for that reason.
overrated.
go-
I haven't seen it.
If you ever go to visit JP, the funny thing is that the walls of his house are made out of glass, and in the middle of the house there's just a big pile of stones,
It's true.
and they're just there for him to throw at anybody that walks by.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
Now, anybody who is saying like it took me 3 times to watch. Like I watched it one time, and I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I think this is probably really overrated. And then I watched it a second time with a friend or something. And I went, there's something to this. And then I watched it like after the third time of watching it. And I know that doesn't speak highly of it, but like sometimes
Yeah,
you have to like learn how to appreciate it.
You're not selling me.
It's
on
like
it now. I'm
taking
less
an art
interested.
appreciation class. Like you understand why they use the brush strokes and the colors that they do, even if you're looking at something that looks like just a jumbled mess of colors. And then, but you get to the backstory of why this is important work or whatever. And you get an appreciation of it. It's like tasting something the first time and you're like, ew, that's gross. And then someone asks you, taste it again, but try and taste this part of it or whatever.
I love that you're saying this given our conversation in that whiskey bar in Tokyo. That like you can't
Listen,
teach
I
taste.
capitulated at the end. I have since changed my tune. Like that's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
Listen,
no, I think you're right. I agree.
I
with
was
you.
dead set. I was like, "Fuck you! This is wrong. You're a snob. Fuck this bullshit."
Fair,
And then
fair.
I capitulated at the end. I started thinking about it. I'm like, you don't know everything about this, Zeke. Like, you're wrong, and you should admit it. And then you should change the way you speak on it in the future. But I'm not wrong about ramen. That shit is overrated.
Whoa,
Well,
who's throwing
I mean, you can't
stones
be-
now in this
Whoa.
glass house?
You
Whoa.
can't be wrong. You can't be wrong about your opinions. So like I can't. There's no argument there.
Can't
But
you?
also,
It's the
you're
internet,
Also,
Adam.
you're a moron. Yeah, I can
That's
judge
the
you
only
for
follow-up.
having the wrong
That's the only
opinion,
follow-up, yeah.
but you're allowed to have that opinion.
Yeah,
People always use
Speaking
that
of
as
being
an
a
insult.
moron,
Well, that's your opinion.
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
Speaking of being a moron, I told Adam this and I told JP this before the show.
Oh yeah.
Last night I went over to my friend's house and I wanted to get my hair cut
Oh,
and
yeah.
colored. And she was like, I got this blue. And I'm like, I don't want to do blue. That's like Ninja did blue. Like, I don't want to look like Ninja. So she's like, how about this? And I was like, that looks great. And then it got done because I wasn't watching it like change. But then I got done and looked in the mirror and went, oh, I didn't even think of who I look like now. And
Yeah.
it's not like, it's more different than I thought it was, but like,
It's pretty different. I think
You
yeah.
will be hearing from my lawyers, and that's fine. You could just.
Yeah, it looks.
I don't
good.
need to speak about this.
Is that a common welcome in Denver? You just dye your hair red and then they let you into the city. Is that how that works, Zeke?
no, it was I dyed it purple for TwitchCon, and then the purple faded out, became blonde. I rocked that for a couple weeks, and then I was like, you know what? I don't like, my roots were starting to come, it started to look messy or whatever. So it was either shave it or dye it again. So my friend wanted to do it, so Here we are.
Beautiful. Looks great.
I'm a Zarya main. Yes, indeed.
Oh my God, you do look like holy shit. You're a Zarya main. God damn.
I didn't think
The
about that.
main
But yeah.
difference, though, the main difference between Zeke and Zarya is that Zarya is hot,
Whoa.
and
Whoa.
we have also Zeke.
Whoa.
So
Yikes.
Wow.
yeah.
I'm glad it's not just me that he flings this shit at.
Mom, someone on D&D is being mean to me again. They're treating me with disrespect. You said I was handsome, and he says I'm not. Am I? Were you lying?
Might have been.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the 12 pack. Yeah, the 12 pack. Okay, I'll see you soon.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to transition out of that. So I'm just going to ask a question. Adam, have you watched The Watchmen yet? On the HBO?
Yes,
I actually
yes.
thought it was fantastic. It was great.
Oh, that's out now?
I agree with you. I
Episode
think it
one
was
is,
so
yeah.
good. Yeah, the first episode came out a couple of days back. I fully went in expecting it to be bad.
Same.
I read fucking that 4-page "Please Don't Hate Me" like weird essay that fucking what's his name wrote about
Damien-
like I'm taking over for Alan Moore, but I'm a real fan. Here's all of my fan
You're
credentials.
talking about the writer? Damien, whatever his name is?
As Lindelof? I
Yeah, the
think
guy that wrote
Lindelof it.
Leftovers and
Yeah.
Lost. Yeah.
Yeah, and he wrote this like weird kind of like desperate sounding letter to the fans to be like, please don't be mad at me. Like, I know you hate me already because I'm doing this thing that you don't want me to do. And I'm like, it was
I
very
didn't know that
weird.
came
But when
out.
I watched it, when I actually watched it and I got to the end of it, I was like, holy shit, this was very good. It was
pretty good.
surprisingly good. I will definitely be watching it like as the episodes come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go. It's hard to talk about it because you can spoil a lot of it. But I think the current antagonist is like brilliant, especially given
Oh,
like
so good.
the source material of that. It's so good.
Oh, it's like it made me so. That was because that's what I was worried about, right? There's one character guy we're gonna play the dodge the spoiler
Let's do
game.
it.
So there's one character in Watchmen in the comic. There's a character in Watchmen who is just like deeply misinterpreted all the time. And for me, the worry was that this show would also do that. I really love that they were like, it's the universe of the comic, but it's the time of now. It's 2019,
Yep.
but everything that was true in the 80s of the comic, we've had whatever 30 years between then
yeah.
and now. And they treat it with so, and again, there's a scene in which something extremely weird happens and everybody's just like, okay, weird things happening. And they treat it with just such normal, like the same way you would if you were like, paper's late. It was very cool. It was very well put together.
And they do that with a bunch of stuff, like a ton of stuff that is, I felt like it was in there just for Easter eggs for like people that have read the comics, because otherwise it's not going to mean anything to you.
Yeah.
But they'll just say something in passing or show like a clip from a newspaper, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And no one else,
Yeah,
people
'cause
that haven't read the comics
it's-
will be like, oh, well, that's okay. I guess that's a thing.
Yeah, well, and it's 30 years later, right? So for everybody that's in it, it's like, it's just that's how it is. And I watched it once. I'm gonna go back and watch it again, and that'll be the like pause to look at frames and like see what's written on books and like look at the newspaper in the background and like dig for that shit. Because I know enough about Watchmen and like the universe to like catch that stuff, and that's pretty. Aside from like Star Wars, that's fairly rare for me. So yeah, it was good, and I'm excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
Well, I think people are against this mostly because Alan Moore is not like opposed to it. Like, he's opposed to everything.
He's opposed to everything.
Kind of
everything. Yeah, that's Alan Moore.
He's kind of an
He's a
emo
curmudgeon.
shitbag, really.
Yeah.
He's a curmudgeonly old sorcerer with his head up his ass. So yeah, he definitely like that's his brand. Is like, I hate it. And while he counts his money, like, oh, it's the worst. Fuck you. I'm going to the bank. Right. Like
One of my favorite Alan Moore quotes. That I don't know if it's exactly right, but it was told to me by a friend of mine, Man vs. Game. He was watching an interview and he goes, "The world is rudderless." And it's just like, that's Alan Moore. Like that's him
That's
all
Alan Moore.
over.
yeah.
Pretty good.
The thing that worries me about Alan Moore is that when I see him and I watch the way he is and how he behaves, I'm like, oh God. It's like staring into the future. Like in another like 20, 25 years, I am going to be that weird old sorcerer with my head up my ass. So like, I just, I can't be too mean to Alan Moore because I know I'm just like a day or two away from being like, what if I just started wearing robes all the time? What if I did that? And then that's it. I like
that.
Robes are kind of nice. Like you should try.
I was gonna say I'm not even. That could be me eventually in the future. Like I could just get so into like I really like this, and then people just assume that you're wizened and sage-like and you have knowledge, and really, as we know, you don't. Because I'm Max.
Yeah.
See, now I insult myself first.
Boom.
Ha! I have trained.
Take that,
you
you
well.
asshole. Got his ass.
You can't be mean to me. I'm an idiot. I mean, shut up.
Yeah, that's how it works. Speaking of Max, what have you been up to?
I got new contacts today, literally like an hour ago.
Nice. You want to hear a funny story about contacts? I'll just steal your entire thing. Okay, great. Go ahead. How the contacts working?
No.
What is it?
It was probably maybe a month or so ago. I think I was brushing my teeth and we were getting ready for bed, and Erin walked in and takes her contacts out, and I bold-faced put my toothbrush down, looked at her, and goes, "You wear contacts?" I had no fucking idea. I've been dating for almost 3 years now that she wore contacts. I had no idea. And she was like, "Are you fucking serious?" She was so upset with me. It was pretty good. So that's my funny story about contacts.
Usually that's one of the first things I know about someone, because that's one of the first things they leave at your house if you start seeing them for a while is their contacts.
I'm just oblivious sometimes, because she had like an actual contact get like fold on her eye once, and it was a big ordeal that I was there for. So I was just oblivious.
Yeah. You would think that would imprint, yeah.
Yeah, you would think that would like leave a mark on me, but no,
That also
I was
is
still
horrible
shocked. I was
whenever
still
that
like,
happens. Or if you get a contact that gets stuck behind like your eye and you have to like get it back out.
Yep.
Or at least to the side. It feels like it's behind your eye. But.
That's a thing that happens. Anyways.
JP, you know I'm German. We went to Oktoberfest at my family's house.
It's things like that, for sure. I just blank on. So, yeah. Anyways, Maxim, how are your contacts treating you?
Yeah,
Are they
I got
good?
that. I was also in Germany. Speaking of
That's
Germany.
right. You went to Germany. I forgot about that.
I was
How
at
was
ParadoxCon. Yeah. It was good. It was cool. I was in Berlin. I had schnitzel. I made fun of German accent with a really shitty one.
Oh, I'm sure they love that.
Adam saw. It was on my Instagram feed. It was a lot of me just like,
oh yeah, look at this wonderful German
beer.
It was bad enough that I had to message Max on Instagram and be like, "Your accent is so bad. Please never stop."
He's gonna make a new character. Berg suddenly German.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Well, if you're going into dungeon,
I'm back from the void.
Cool. We should probably go into town and get some kit, yeah?
You sound like an idiotic bird.
Like a German Kermit or something.
Just hilarious, or maybe a little Kermity. Yeah,
Kermit's a frog.
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, you do your German accent a lot like I do mine when I'm really trying, but it's like Dr. Strangelove is how I do. Like, how I try to do my German accent. It's a little bit like this.
Yeah, a little Kermit too.
Yeah, I can fuck.
Yeah, because that accent is so corny and bad, but it's like a very specific. Yeah, that kind of like it's stuck in
very
your
fun
throat.
though. It's very fun. So that is actually not the voice that I usually do when I do a German accent. Usually it's more of like, an effeminate, like it's a character called Dieter, which is the same kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Dieter, how you doing? Do you want to come into my hair parlor? Get you hooked up with some wonderful.
I just do the nihilist from The Big Lebowski. That's my German accent.
Hey, fuck you! I fuck you!
People even
I
nothing.
fuck you!
Yeah,
That's all.
Give us the money. We
accents
call
all
it
around.
even.
That's all the show is doing. Just bad accents. Welcome to RollPlay.
Yeah.
Bad
Oh, wonderful.
or wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was in Germany, and it was cool. It was neat.
We're gonna say Zeke.
I'm sorry, I forgot Max was talking about Germany. We just go off so many
You
tangents.
forgot about
But
this?
I wanted to allow him to finish before I said what I was going to say.
Oh,
Oh, thank you very much. That's sweet. You're sweet.
Did you have anything else to say about Germany there, besides it's cool?
Um,
Okay,
No.
anyways.
Did you eat any good food, Max? That's what I'm curious. What was the best thing that you ate over there? Did you get?
It's a little weird because the hotel that I was staying at was a like the area that I was in felt very like kind of hipstery. It wasn't like super downtown Berlin, and the hotel that I was at was like super vegan. I don't know if it was like that's a thing a lot in Germany, but like they were all about like to the point where somebody was like drinking soda, and the guy was like, "Oh, we kind of frown upon that here," like making a jive, but also mentioning like there was no meat other than just like like protein, like eggs. That's what they had, and then it was like currywurst, but it wasn't actually sausage.
Oh, so just
like
the food
tofu
was vegan.
and all that stuff.
I thought you meant like the whole hotel was vegan in some sense.
You can't.
No, it kind of was actually. Like there was like these slippers that were made of.
What was the soap?
I don't know.
Well, then it wasn't
the soap. I'm assuming the soap was vegan. And then there was a grocery store like right in the corner there, and that everything in there was still like vegan and super health conscious. And yeah, I was like, is this Germany? Because I don't.
Yeah, it sounds like a bad part of Germany.
And all sorts of
crap. Just stay out of that.
I think it was just the area I was in. Yeah, it was interesting.
This is a bad neighborhood. We have vegans here. Like,
yeah, that's 100% accurate. That sounds good.
There are slippers in your cupboard in your room. They smell like shit.
They did. I was gonna say that, but it was funnier to say it in German accent.
Wait, why did they smell bad?
They were like slippers that were made of like some sort of hemp or weird fucking something. And it made
why
the
did
room.
You stay at the weird hippie hotel?
Yeah, why?
I don't know. They booked the hotel for us, so that was like the hotel itself was nice. Like the bed was comfortable and it was clean, whatever. But there was like a yoga mat in there, and they encouraged you to do yoga. And then there were these slippers that smelled like absolute ass, so I had to put them in the closet. And I only smelled the ass when I like walked by the closet. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, it has to be some pungent ass stink to have.
It was really smelly. I was very surprised, and I didn't imagine my surprise. I was like, "The fuck is that smell?" Because I didn't know initially. I'm like, "Is it me? I've been traveling like a long time when I first got in, and then I smelled the slippers. I'm like, what the fuck?"
You gotta watch out for the slippers, man.
Yeah,
they're bad.
Anyways, Germany was fun. Paradox was cool. PDXCon is always fun. This is my first time going to one since they made it like a public event.
Yeah.
The Paradox events are always pretty fun. They're lower key and they are really good with their community and stuff. So it was cool to hang out there and check out a bunch of new content for strategy games and such.
Cool. Well, welcome back to the US of A.
Yeah.
Was customs
I'm actually
fun?
so glad to be back.
Really?
I was there long enough where it was like almost a week. That like I enjoyed it, but at the end of the trip, I'm just like, fuck, I just want to be back home where I understand everything.
Sure.
There's no shitty, smelly slippers in my closet.
Yeah, that could be a lot for sure.
That was nice.
Well, I just wanted to chime in and say, hey, Dan, you never answered me on Twitter. So, like, what are you doing in November?
Whoa.
No, I'm just saying, like,
whoa.
You want a homie to come visit and we'll go live it up and have a weekend on the town or something, dude? I'm down, son. Once I get to Denver, dude, and I get these, I'm starting like getting on all these like flight deal websites. I mean, it's just one shot now. It's fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
He's got space madness. Run.
He's got space madness. Get out of here.
He's got the space madness. He's trying to go everywhere.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, buddy. Just think about it. Just think about it. Just want to put a little seed in the head.
Dan, how you been? Are you still in the horror? I know you played a horror game today, but is horror week over? You extended it a little bit.
Yeah, the horror thing's over.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I played a game today called Moons of Madness, which just came out.
I saw that. Did you like it?
And yeah, most people are stopping streaming it because it's not that good. It's kind of boring, actually.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I tried. I gave it a few hours and just started getting weirder and more boring, and it just wasn't very good Lovecraft. It was mostly just jump scare simulator with weird, like Dead Space style fixing stuff on the Mars station, and then someone that doesn't know Lovecraft very well writing Lovecraft stuff, like just really weird, lots of tentacles. They just don't get it, you know?
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of that where people are like, it's Lovecraftian, and you're like, the fuck it is. Prove it.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's got tentacles. Squid and Cthulhu's in it or whatever. And you're like, get out of here.
Crazy.
They got
magical
tentacles.
stuff.
Just stop. Just
I'll stop.
Just like popping up in the corner. Hey, do you guys want to play my video game?
It's in the Lovecraftian
style. It's got some cosmic horror.
I honestly
like
just
that.
imagine you with like a baked good with tentacles coming out of it, like on a tray. He's got
This
tentacles.
video game. Just put it in your console.
jeez,
Ugh, man.
Yeah, I got a little early access to Outer Worlds, which comes out on Friday, and
nice.
I just a little bit of it, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Good.
reviews look pretty good for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
to
it's
try
not
it.
open world like Fallout, so don't expect like an open world game like Fallout. It's like more like Borderlands
Structured.
or Dragon Age, where it's like smaller hubs that you
That's
go
okay, though.
between. But,
Oh,
I think that's
interesting.
okay. I think I'd prefer
Yeah.
that, honestly.
yeah, much rather have like a condensed, really good experience than like a big empty space.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
a bit there where everybody was just doing big spaces, and it's just became very hard to digest.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to do well because the end game is so often boredom instead of like conclusion. Because you put off doing the fun stuff for so long, and then you're like, well, I got tired of walking around this big empty space. So
Yeah, but
yeah.
I played a little bit
I've
of
heard
it.
good reviews so far.
Pretty fun. It's got a lot of different play styles. So if you can do speaker, like talker, sneaker, guns, melee, it's made by the person that made the original Fallout game, Tim Kaine.
Right.
He made Fallout 1 by himself with a very small team in the 90s, and it's his like spiritual successor to Fallout. It's really cool.
Nice. I'm going to ask you a question.
that's cool.
This is practice for tomorrow, Dan, when you're playing it. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Can you get that game through the Xbox Game Pass and download it through the Windows Store, or do you have to use the Epic Game Store?
You can play them if you hate Epic, you can buy it on the Windows Store or use the Game Pass. Either
Okay.
or.
Okay. All right. I don't know what I'm going to... I think I already have the Game Pass, though, so maybe I'll just get it through that.
Yeah, if you have the Game Pass, then I think it's free for you. So it's part of their.
That's an
It's
insane
since
deal.
Microsoft bought Obsidian, so now it's their studio, so you get it for free.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
Wow.
You can install.
Are you playing it tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll be playing it tomorrow. A couple streamers are getting early access and can stream it tomorrow.
Yeah.
No restrictions.
Yeah, I just got my copy today.
Mhm.
In fact, I got it started
too.
installing it and then
I'm
play for a few
excited.
hours.
I'm excited.
Probably not going to be that early though, because 8 a.m. is a
Yeah,
it's
it's
a tough
early.
sell.
It unlocks real early.
Not gonna do that.
early.
I'll get on later, but
I'm not excited to see how low my numbers are comparatively to not only my own but every other person's.
yeah, I'm just not going to look at them. I'm just gonna play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Notice they've been doing that a lot, where they give so many people early access. It's just a normal stream day for everyone
Yeah,
it's
and
when they
just
get
whatever.
a new release.
It is a weird thing. I wish they would just either make it open to everyone on the same day and not do early access, but then fucking like what's marketing? What's the point of marketing and advertising and all that
Right,
stuff?
yeah.
Hmm.
But it is what it is. So,
Yeah.
anything else to anything besides the Mars game today and Horror Week last week?
Yeah, just been replaying Darkest Dungeon. Still fun and rage-inducing like always.
Yeah, that's true. How far are you right now in the Darkest Dungeons?
I'm just getting into tier 2 dungeons, which are
They're still kind of
they start to get hard,
Yeah.
and then tier 3 is when you start wanting to gouge your eyes out at certain moments.
That's true. Yeah.
Now, just real quick, nothing new happened in Darkest Dungeon because not only did I see you playing it, but did I see some other like bigger streamer playing it as well?
I think on Sunday I started playing it because there's nothing to play, and then other people saw me playing it, are like, "Oh, I'll use that as a filler game."
Yeah.
One of those
Oh, okay.
filler type games. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. If they said anything else on Darkest Dungeon 2, that's a thing, right?
The last
Yeah, they
I
announced it,
saw
like,
was they were hiring for like devs and artists and stuff. Like that's the last news that I saw was basically them being like, "Want to work on this project? Come on, send us your resume." But I haven't seen anything.
Gotcha.
Anything else since then?
Cool. Well, we should roll a recap, but it's I'll
do it.
warn you. It's a little short. There's not much.
It's a short one. Yep.
Yeah, last week was a lot of combat, so there's not too much to recap, but let's see what happens.
Previously on Court of Swords, a god of judgment descends into view, here to bar anyone from escaping the vein and returning to the world. She declares that Ramus and Berg may pass, having souls, but the others, creatures of the void, cannot. If our heroes are willing to sacrifice either Maharib or Amira, the other may pass. No amount of debate can shake the entity, and in the end, they decide that violence is the only way through. A terrible battle ensues, in which Unnamed is struck dead by horrific celestial magic, and Amira is slain by the god's scythe. Berg, Maharib, and Ramus subdue and finally slay the creature and her servants. Carrying the dead bodies of Amira and Nameless, the party passes through the fortress gate and into the mist beyond.
But what's on the mist, Adam? Where are we? Are we back? Tell us. Tell us now.
I was just amused at how I totally Shatnered the delivery of that with long pauses and
Hold on, you
talking
what?
really slow because I
you
realized
do,
how
Adam?
short it was.
Okay, what was that verb again?
Shatnered it.
Oh, you shat. Oh, okay, shattered. Okay.
To Shatner.
Everyone's shatters every once in a while.
Before
Sometimes twice a day.
you can't help it. You think you're gonna Nimoy and you end up Shatnering. So let's do goals because we didn't get new ones last time. I wanted to give you some time to ponder those. Give Zeke a minute to recover. All right.
That was good.
So so we need, and I know that it's kind of hard to write goals in a vacuum. But I think that maybe
We're in a vacuum?
Zeke might have like the easiest time.
What?
Where are
What
we?
kind? Is it a fucking Dyson or
Yeah,
what?
is it a German vacuum? Max, tell them about the German vacuums.
Is it efficient? Is it cordless? Does it do well with the animal hair?
Yeah, pick up all the dust.
I have a
So
German vacuum. They're actually
you-
great. They make great stuff.
They're fucking great.
Yeah, they're
I
fantastic.
thought you were gonna say I have a German grandma. She'd be very upset if she heard you talking like this.
What? Why? No.
I have a German vacuum.
Was that a German grandma? Max, hold on. Max, please continue.
Grandma.
Continue, please.
Shut up, Grandma!
Jesus Christ.
All I can think about is I've got a German grandma, but to the tune of I've got a golden ticket. So
Nice.
I need goals. Otherwise, you can't have experience points. So goals. Yeah, yes, you can send me gold and I'll give you XP. Because right now, I'm gonna set Unnamed aside, because there is a chance that she and Amira will return, but we can work out all that stuff in the game. Berg, you have a goal right now to learn more about Maharib's axe, and Maharib has a goal to explore the axe's power further. There are no goals otherwise. Ramus, you need 3. And
I have
then,
one that isn't updated yet. I have one that
I'm just
says
gonna
find a
add-
soul for unnamed and what's her face because I forgot her name.
Her name is Amira.
God
There you go,
damn.
Amira.
I
She's
should
not a
smite you
player.
down.
Who cares?
I should smite you where you stand. Ramus, smite him.
Okay. All right. So yeah, assuming that you are indeed returning to the world and not necessarily knowing where or when or what else is going on, Dan, what do you want your goals to be?
All right. Find a way to revive Unnamed. Start recruiting.
Amira?
Start recruiting followers to Harmony. That's just gonna be what I would call my religion, and establish a place for the Temple of Harmony.
Okay, I like it.
That's how he lures people. That's how he does it.
Yeah.
What? Can you give me the wording on that last one again?
Establish a place for the Temple of Harmony.
Ah, yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Temple of Harmony. All right, we starting a religion, boys. Okay. Good. So Berg, you have 2. Learn more about Maharib's axe.
Whoa,
and find a
whoa!
soul
Don't
for
learn more
unnamed.
about my ass, Max. Wait, that's another show. Careful now. Careful
one's
now.
exclusive to the
He's just so
patrons.
muscular and like
Yeah.
20
strength,
Berg has been staring at it the whole game so far, and he's just like, I gotta know more about that booty. So-
20 strength, 20 con. Think about it. Think about it.
is that what you call your butt cheeks? So what do you want your
Something.
third goal? This is gonna be a silly episode. What do you want your goals to be, Berg?
So the first one, find a soul for unnamed Amira. We got the second one. The third one is the one that is eluding me. It's also kind of weird because we still aren't fully established in the new world here.
Yeah, you're home. You're home from your weird vacation. In the alternate universe, you've just won the Super Bowl. What are you gonna do? Like, what would you want? What would Berg want?
I think it might be a good time for Berg to, and you let me know if this makes sense, to learn more about his newly acquired belt. Just kind of grabbed it and then put it on, but he hasn't really I guess attuned with it or whatever, or really like
like you're attuned to it and you can use it, but find out
more about it. Yeah.
This new belt. Yeah. No, I like that. Anything that like gets you a little deeper in on magic items, I think is cool. Okay. All right. Maharib. What do you want your goals to be? We got explore the power of the Wicked Edge.
So, a short side discussion. It makes sense to bring back Unnamed, but then it leaves me in an awkward spot for Amira. Because I had an idea of what I wanted to kind of move forward with in that storyline, but if we bring back Amira, then it's pointless.
You better
So,
tell me that now, because
that's what I'm asking.
Take her
Like-
right the fuck out of my goal.
That's what I'm asking. Like, I guess it would make sense to bring both of them back, but
Nope. You've already put doubt in my mind. It's just unnamed now. I don't give a fuck about Amira.
Wow. Just so abandoned.
I mean, that's fine with me.
We're talking about experience, Adam. Me as the player,
I'm
Max,
aware.
not Berg.
I know. No, I'm.
Berg would
that's
love to
fine.
bring back Amira, but from what's on the paper, if there's a technicality we only bring back unnamed and I don't bring back Amira,
Yes,
that means
yeah.
I don't get XP. So
That's right. Focused goals are a good call. Okay.
It's true.
shut up, chat.
Also, the second side part of that is, and this is a question for Zeke, which maybe I should ask off air, but I'm asking on there. Do you want Unnamed to be brought back eventually? Because if so, then these goals are pointless.
Well,
I'll tell you this.
No, they're not. They're not, because you could still, just before you answer, we could very easily have her brought back and then have her leave, or like go do something else, or like still get retired, right? Like,
Okay.
we brought you back, you got a soul now, welcome to the world, and she's like, I'm gonna go explore it, and then whoosh,
Okay.
disappears. right?
Yeah. Then
Like,
maybe Zeke don't answer.
so that's
Okay.
totally fine.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, then we'll do Explore the Power of the Wicked Edge. Find a way to revive Unnamed / Amira. So I will put both of them there.
Okay.
And then the third one will be given to you after Zeke gives his goals.
Zeke has already given me
Son of a bitch!
in secret. Zeke's goals.
Okay.
I have them now, so unfortunately you have no time.
Pencils down, Mr. P.
Right. Yeah. Find out. I'm workshopping this in my mind right now.
Yeah, that's
and
okay.
out loud. Something to do with trying to see if like Goliath culture or Goliath, the Goliath people accept me as one of their own, or like
Yeah,
exploring
so, like,
my new self, or whatever this is.
So what would you like to find out a Goliath perspective? You would need
A
like
Goliath.
a shaman, basically. Yeah. So you would need a Goliath to like one that is in tune with the primordials and has access to the spirits, like a druid or a shaman. You would need one of them to like examine you, basically, and be like, "Yep, you're still good," or like, "Nope, something is horribly wrong with you."
Yeah, so consult with the Goliath physician.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what it's gonna be.
If your void blood lasts longer than 4 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So consult a Goliath shaman.
Yeah, shaman about the nature of myself.
Yeah, about my condition.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just dropping in to see what kind of condition your condition is in. Okay.
I was just gonna say that, and you must
Say it in a German accent; it'll still be funny.
I just dropped in to see what your condition was in the conditionary way. I don't know.
I fucked up. Okay.
Yeah, no, you really messed
Flusher in the
that one up.
lights.
Wait,
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
let me do that.
You had an easy one,
Chalk.
and you just
Allow me to do
fucked
the
it up.
backup. Allow me to do the backup, Max. Ready? Ja, what condition, Mike?
Thank you, Zeke. Great.
Thanks for saving that. Jesus Christ.
God damn it.
Boy. All right. So
D&D.
I think today's episode begins after the initial credit roll. We fade in on the jungle. Bright, vibrant greens, the sounds of birds, a faint layer of mist, and in the distance we see, breaking above the jungle surface, we see a temple. We see the spires of a temple. And at one point, this temple was glorious. It was ivory and gold, and in a previous age, people would come here to pay homage to the sun in this place. But that was a long time ago, and things in this neighborhood have changed somewhat. And as we get closer, as we crossfade to a closer shot of the temple, we can see that it has been laid siege to, this ancient temple of the sun. Some of it has been destroyed, others merely repurposed. And in the area, we can see a bunch of what look like a mixture of Court of Swords peasants and black-clad overseers guiding the repairs of the wall. There's like a little farm in here, and we can see that there are people still coming in through the gate. Now, this is obviously not being used as a temple anymore, but it is being repurposed. And so we see all of these people, and then there is a bright flash. There is a tearing sound, and we see maybe a group of these peasants, working in a like a rice paddy near the thing. They turn to look at this sudden bright flash. Even during the day, we see a white flash, and we cut to what appears to be a stone and wood mansion, a well-kept mansion. We've seen it before, decorated with motifs of elephant heads. Right, we see elephant heads at the edge of the roof. We see them carved into the walls, and we see this place, and it begins to collapse and fold in on itself. There is a strange, malevolent energy that is spilling from this place, and as it collapses in on itself, we see the words, the subtitles on the screen say, "A few moments ago." So we see it collapse in and then vanish, leaving just like the foundations. And around it, there are the villagers in this area that look, and like they're all startled. There's some shouting and running around, and in the midst of this chaos, we get another subtitle that says, "Now." It appears just a few seconds after. It says, "Now." There's another bright flash, that same tearing sound, and we see standing on the empty and ruined foundations of this building, we see the group of you. We see Maharib carrying Amira. We see Berg, Ramus, the body of unnamed. And all of a sudden, the group of you are right back where you left off. Only the building you are in is gone. So here's the thing that happens, right? For Maharib, Berg, and Ramus, the shock is strong and immediate, but not long lasting.
Am I still blind
suddenly,
and deaf and all this craziness?
Yeah, you haven't had a chance to rest yet, but I think the thing is that as you're led into this place, because you only walk through the mist a little ways, and then for you the mist got lighter and lighter until it breaks, and now you're in this place. Now, for Berg and Ramus, you both suddenly feel awash in the fountain's energy again. It is like breathing fresh air, feeling the warm sun on your skin. Suddenly the air is like redolent with life. You can hear birds and insects, and you think you can hear people shouting in panic, and then your vision begins to clear and you can see all of the brilliant colors of the world again. And immediately you can feel your pupils shrink like so fast it hurts. All of the sound suddenly becomes loud and grating. You can hear every noise as if it were at maximum volume coming from every direction around you. Even the smell of the earth and like the sweat on the people who are running away from this spot, even that is overwhelming, but it only lasts a moment. And for you, Maharib, despite having been struck blind and deaf and insensate, some part of you recalls this place, right? Deep in your stunned condition, even then, you feel the call of the fountain's power drawing you back to the world. And I think for you, Maharib, you recover when you are re-exposed to reality, right? So your vision starts to clear, you hear sounds, and it all comes rushing back like a river's torrent, just washing over the three of you. And we see you, we get a kind of close shot of the three of you and the bodies you're carrying as you emerge from the vein into the world. And we cut to nearby in a building. We see maybe up on like the third floor. We pan up through a window that leads out into this courtyard. And in this room, we see a pale-skinned and beautiful woman. We've seen her before. She is wearing what looks to be a ceremonial gown. It is of the Court of Swords, but she's obviously dressed up. Her long black hair is pinned up on top of her head, and next to her there's a young boy dressed similarly fancy, but kind of off to one side. And so this boy is kind of like holding his hands at his sides when we fade in, and she's sitting across from a man. The two of them seem to be in the middle of a conversation. They're drinking tea, and we see this character across from her. Zeke, do you want to decide what 10 Pillars looks like? I can leave that up to you if you want, or I can help you, or I picked a token that kind of like gives the impression of what I was thinking, but it's up to you if you want to describe.
Oh, interesting.
I couldn't tell if it was me or Zeke.
Sorry. I was
okay.
actually kind of practicing the voice. That's why I was muted.
That's all right.
Okay. No, I was having trouble seeing it. I have to zoom in a little bit. Okay. Ask me the question again.
What do we see? What does it look like when we look across the table from this woman? What do we see?
You see a human who is you can tell that this person takes care of their clothes. Looks very nice. Sorry. This person takes care of their clothes. They are clean, spotless. You can tell that he cares about his appearance. There's a very well kept pointed beard. You can tell he oils it and makes it look and shapes it when he wakes up. Everything about him says attention to detail, basically. Now I'm not sure like what, because hold on, let me my notes here. I'm here on behalf of the Court of Coins, so I probably have something that's the question. Signifies that, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't have traveled. You wouldn't have traveled in your court magisterial garb, right? Because that would make you a target almost immediately.
Right.
The Court of Swords. The Court of Swords is not particularly fond of magistrates these days. But you're here from a long way away. You probably traveled in disguise. But are you wearing your court garb, like you're wearing your bureaucratic uniform?
It depends on how close I am to doing what I came here to do.
Yeah, this would have been your first meeting. Like you maybe just arrived yesterday and you were given a room and access to like baths and like a moment to rest. And then now you've come to meet with the woman who supposedly will put you in touch with the people that you need. So it depends on how much you want to butter her up, whether you're trying to be like, I'm too important for you, or if you want to be like, please introduce me. Okay.
Well, to probably Ramus, because he's more came up more in the city or whatever. You probably noticed the like a ring with an insignia on it that would say like the Court of Coins or whatever. Nothing too flashy. Exactly. Nothing too flashy.
Yeah, and a lot of your authority comes from documentation that you have, right? Like you being able to show papers, being allowed, because the roads of this whole country, the roads of this entire court are basically like you're in a war zone. You're in a literal war zone right now, and so you're hiding kind of who you are from everybody. But here you're dressed nobly and well in finery to show her that like you're taking the meeting seriously.
Yes, absolutely.
So you notice that, right? You and her both, like a clap of thunder or a flash of lightning. You both notice the sound and the brightness of the window, and she turns, and the young boy who you haven't been introduced to, but he seems to be some kind of like servant to Gravedirt. He looks concerned, and he gestures to her, and she leans over, and he whispers something in her ear. And she makes a face, like a slightly concerned face, and she puts a hand up to you as if to say, like, a moment, excuse me, right? And she stands, and she walks over to the window. And so we follow her, and then we see the three of you, Ramus, Maharib, and Berg, outside. It seems to you that you have returned to the Temple of the Sun. Precisely where you left. Now, you have no idea how much time has passed, but we know it's only been moments, basically. So what do the three of you do?
I think I shout to a random peasant, what year is it?
The peasant stops, and he turns, and he babbles something at you in peasant.
Can I make a intelligence check to see how long I think we were gone in the other world? Because they don't really have a day-night cycle there, right?
There is no way to know, really. Like you have nothing. You can't see like the stars, so you can't guess what like.
I'm not saying
what season
I'm not
it is.
saying in this world. I'm saying how long we were gone in the other world.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think you could approximate it. I figure it was like couple of weeks probably that you were there all told.
Okay. Then yeah,
there wasn't many like rests that we could take, but the cycles last longer there, I think.
Right.
Yeah, days are confusing there, but yeah, it's been maybe like a week or so.
All right. Yeah, I think maybe Ramus is a little bit shocked when I like put my hand on him because I was stunned seconds before, and just say, Ramus, we were gone a couple of weeks. If time passed normally.
Oh, well, it's last time this happened before. I went into a different realm and came back, and time advanced a lot. Just want to make sure we're still relatively near where we left.
Yeah, and looking around, you can see very clearly that you are. Yeah, you're exactly like you're standing in the same place you were when you left, but the building you were in is gone. You're just standing on a stone like pentagon-shaped stone platform, and looking around, there are a bunch of the peasants around here. The overseers in their like black cloaks are trying to, they're trying to like get people up and be like, get back to work. Like, don't worry about this. This isn't your issue to deal with. Someone has gone and fetched the mistress. She'll take care of this. And other peasants are like weeping and like tearing at their clothes and like laying on the ground. You see someone holding a broken piece of elephant-shaped like stonework and just like sobbing and clutching it. Like you're just surrounded by maybe like two dozen peasants that are just like they're having a moment at whatever just happened.
Okay, I wince for a second and like look down and see just like cuts and gashes all across my body. And Ramus, we need a bed. I need to rest.
Oh my God, you're right. It just hit me. We're all nearly dead.
10 Pillars, do you join your host at the window to see what's up, or do you stay seated?
No, she gave me the sign just a moment, so I'm going to stay here.
Okay. So she turns back to you after looking out the window, and now she clearly has like a frustrated or concerned look on her face. And she says to you, I'm sorry to cut short our meeting, but I have some unexpected guests. If you'll excuse me.
Of course. But remember that time is short.
You do not have to remind me. Excuse me. And she walks past you, her lacquered sandals clicking on the stone floor as she kind of like, angry walks past towards the stairs.
Then as soon as she leaves, 10 Pillars takes out a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice, ornate pipe. He's had it for years. It's worn down, but it's always polished and nice, and puts in some pipe tobacco and just puffs away.
So there's a servant at the door who you didn't even know was there until you like put your tobacco in the pipe, and then you're about to be like, oh, I need a match, and then this servant is just there already and like lights your pipe for you, and he bows to you.
Yeah, and then you see him like just give him that like side eye, like okay, this is how it works here. All right, fine.
Yep. Okay, so downstairs, Ramus, Berg, and Maharib, as your minds begin to clear and you recalibrate to being in reality again, you see mouthful of worm-ridden grave dirt. And for you, it's been some time since you last saw this woman, but for her, it's only been a minute, and she has this confused look on her face, and she's dressed up. Like, you didn't see her like in her fancy clothes. She was in her like I'm the commander clothes. So she's dressed up as if to receive a guest, and you see her walking across the sort of courtyard of the temple towards you.
I grab or grip tighter on Ramus's shoulder and Ramus, get us out of here.
She has to help us. She's not here to harm us. We're allies for now.
Ramus,
Allies?
She sent us.
Last time we saw her, Ramus.
She sent us in there, but I don't know if she knew exactly what was going on or if it was a test. Whatever you do not act afraid. Act like it was nothing.
Ramus,
I'm not afraid. I'm angry.
I can barely stand.
Keep
Ramus.
it in, Berg. We need her for now.
So she walks up within range of speech, right? She comes up and she keeps a bit of a distance from you, right? She doesn't get all up close, but she stops and she looks at the five of you, I guess, and quirks her eyebrow slightly and says, Well, you went into my oracle, and a moment later, she gestures, you owe me a building and an oracle. What happened?
Did you know what they were doing in there, in that building?
Of course I did. I was the one that put him in there, arranged things.
Well, something went wrong, and the building collapsed on us, and sent us someplace else.
Where did Yotazo go? And what are these bodies? And she turns and kind of looks at them for the first time, and you see a look of like recognition, maybe, on her face.
Well,
Voidborn.
we finally have the answer that's been plaguing scholars and religious people for the longest time, where the Mara come from.
Really?
These are their offspring.
And she looks like kind of like a little longer than you might expect. She says nothing. She just like stares at the two of them, and she says, "Are they dead?"
Yes. At least
I
in
have
our
to study them. So yeah, she says, I need to study them. Lao. And she shouts to an assistant who comes over like, yes, mistress. And she says, have some of the overseers take these bodies, bring them to my private workshop.
You can have one. The other is mine.
Do you have a preference, Ramus Grell?
I grip tighter on Ramus's shoulder. It's like hurting almost at this point.
Yeah.
You can examine this one, but you must keep it intact. While dead, she will feel no pain.
Which body do you give her?
Amira's.
And who's currently in physical possession of that body? It would have been Berg.
Berg is carrying them both, yeah, because Ramus was leading you
yeah.
along.
Yeah. Yeah. So Berg would.
And by now, some servants have come over with like a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
And Gravedirt looks at you, Berg, and gestures like, "Go ahead."
Yep. He put the body there.
Okay. You place Amira's body in the wheelbarrow.
Like reluctantly though, like looks at Ramus for a second before doing so. Like shooting you a glance like, is this what you want?
I give
He's
you a
gonna
look of like, I know you don't want to, but we need to give her something. Like, just satisfy the woman.
And Berg shoots another look at Gravedirt. Like, I want to murder the fuck out of you right now. And then
she just gives you a nice wide smile, like, it's nice to see you too.
Yeah.
So you place the body in the wheelbarrow, and the servants take it away, or they start to, and she looks at the group of you and says, "You look like shit. You need to rest."
We do.
Fine. I hadn't had time to make the servants make any alterations to the quarters I gave you before, so you're welcome to stay. You know where everything is.
I give her
She
like
turns and she looks back at the main like building where you met her before. She looks up at the window. 10 pillars, are you still just like sitting, smoking your pipe? Are you able, basically my question is, are you able to like ignore your own curiosity? I'm curious to see, do we see you in the window, or are you still just like, nope, I'm fine?
Yeah, I think I would. I think I honestly I would go up to the window while I'm waiting, smoking my pipe and looking out to see. Like after a few seconds have gone by, no one asked me not to like look or whatever. So
No, yeah, you're not. Yeah, you're a guest. You can walk around and look at stuff, and they're fine. Okay, so we see a figure in the window, and Grave Dirt again turns back to the three of you, and she says, "I have a meeting to attend, but when I'm done, I'm going to send servants for you, and we are going to talk. Be sure that you are presentable by then." She looks at Unnamed's body, and she says, "Let me know if you need me to dispose of that for you when you're done with it." "Excuse me, gentlemen." And she turns around and walks away. And I think 10 pillars from your perspective, when she moves away, the camera
God damn
that
it,
is your
you
point of view.
exactly what I was thinking. He's sitting there staring, and she moves out of the way.
She moves, yep. And you see Berg. And you feel your heart go like thump, 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 thump. Like there's a moment where everything freezes when you see Berg down in the courtyard. And then you watch her turn around.
Yeah, and then if you're looking, like the camera goes back to like outside the window looking at a name, and you see him do this, just and that's it.
Yep, excellent. So I think we stick with the folks downstairs, right? Gravedirt walks away, and Ramus, Maharib, and Berg, you can if you want, like go and rest. I have and you guys should still be able to see it. The Monastery of the Sun, the map.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So of course the Benefactor's Manor is no more. It has been removed. Gravedirt's inner sanctum and her quarters and stuff are in the courtyard as well. Anything connected to the plaza is inside it. The Sun Tower and the crematorium stands at where it was before. I think she had you staying in the dormitories before, so you can feel free to to go back there and rest if need be.
Yeah, I think we're all at death's door.
Yeah, for sure. When they took away Amira's body, did they leave like her weapon and her?
No, anything that, unless Berg like specifically took it off of her, it was just like her and all of her stuff just went into the garbage truck to take it away to Gravedirt's inner sanctum.
Did you take the weapon, Berg, or did you leave it on her?
I would think Berg would take the weapons and stuff because they don't need the weapons. Plus, that's like those are personal items. I don't think Berg would trust Gravedirt with that shit.
Great.
Yeah, sure.
So real quick, I'm watching from the window within the inner sanctum, or
yes, I think so. That would be where you would be. Yeah. Yeah, that's where she would have invited you. Not her personal quarters, but into her little, like, basically those three things they used to be, and Ramus would know this, they used to be the high priest's quarters, and then when she came here and kicked everybody out, she took it over. Yeah.
Yeah, I walk over to Berg and grab if the sword's not wrapped, is there?
It is, yeah. Yeah, she would have kept it because it didn't have, I don't think it had like a scabbard that you put it in,
yeah,
but she kept it wrapped in like an oilcloth to keep it sharp and like keep it from rusting.
Yeah, then I grab the sword wrap from Berg and start walking towards wherever the inn is, and like as I do, I definitely brush past Ramus with my shoulder and lean into it a little bit. and start making my way towards the inn to go rest.
Right. Yeah.
Bird kind of lingers with Ramus for a second.
I hope you know what you're doing, Remus.
Don't worry, Berg. We've been through a lot. And I have yet to let you down permanently. Maybe temporarily, but never permanently.
For now.
Bird walks away.
Yeah. Okay. So we cut back to that room that you're in, 10 Pillars, and you hear the door unlatch. You hear, I think before she even arrives, you hear the like click, click, click of her sandals. And then you hear the door unlatch, and your hostess returns. She has a quizzical look on her face, and she says, I'm so sorry about that. Something I thought was finished apparently isn't. But it's important that we talk. You've come so far. I'm sorry if this place isn't what you're used to. We're in the midst of renovations, you see.
I noticed.
I've been instructed to tell you. My master appreciated the gifts you had sent to him. A good start. Now, you know that there was some kind of like entreaty made. There was something important or valuable sent to this person, but you don't know what it was. You just know that it happened.
Of course. We always preempt any sort of talks with pleasantries and gifts.
You have to understand, my master is a man of the people. You, in your courtly ways, I understand them, of course, but if you are blessed with an audience, he won't find them as charming. You'll need to speak with him evenly, honestly, and without any of the poetry you might be used to when dealing with other diplomats.
That's why I was sent here. I can adapt to any situation, whatever it calls for.
She comes over and she sits down back at the table that you were at, and
I joined
without
her
having
table.
to ask. Yeah, without having to ask, the servant has already brought more tea, and she says, there is, of course, still some token resistance to our new regime, predominantly in the north, but I imagine that's why you're here, isn't it? That border is growing thinner and thinner every season. Soon we'll be neighbors. She smiles like widely now, and you notice that she's either filed them or just has unnaturally sharp like canine teeth.
Well, you have the right of it. Might as well we are here to discuss.
So,
Before
10
we
pillars of gold.
Oh, sorry.
So she just like interrupts you before you get a chance to speak. She says, 10 pillars of gold, are you here to surrender?
I've been around a long time. Seen many battles, many wars, many skirmishes, big and small. And I can tell you, 201, at any time, one side thought they had the upper hand and were confident of that. it always preceded their fall. Not saying that things don't look good for you, because they do. But I wouldn't be here negotiating if you didn't think there was something you had the chance of losing.
You're not the first, you know. There were others before you. Magistrates. Mostly the Court of Swords, though. I think that's a dying breed now. They were killed.
Court of
201.
Swords are wild dogs with no structure. Court of Coins have the thought and the money to back it up.
You are a wise man. They did well in sending you. I cannot give you the answer that you seek. Not today. Not now. I ask your patience. Stay with us a time. Allow me to commune with my master. I will impart to him your desires.
I'm going to use my insight to see if she's like telling the truth, that she needs this time, or if she's stalling.
Okay.
Just to,
Yeah.
Here we go. Insight. Let me just make sure here. Okay, it's already added in there. Okay. 32. How about that? Well, that's, I mean, that's an expert for
Jesus.
you. Like, I'm rolling at a plus 13 on insight, so.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, there is something inhuman about her, right? She has an aura. Something about her makes her skin crawl and gives you a bit of that like fight or flight stuff. And now you're a pro, right? You have dealt with people something like this, right? Border warlords, diplomats, lesser gods. Like you've been around, and so it doesn't really like shake you. But she's unusual. But that's not a puzzle you can't solve. She wants you to stay, both to show that she is in charge, right? To be like, you don't get to do what you come here to do until I say so. So part of it is proving that. But also, you don't have her full attention. Whatever happened out in the courtyard, and I guess it's the same. She doesn't have your full attention either. Whatever happened out in the courtyard is like, she's basically like, I need to deal with this, and then I can actually deal with you. So that's kind of what's going on.
Okay.
So she says, so she says to you, we don't have much in the way of lodgings. I'm not going to put you up in the dormitories like some common laborer. I've made up a room here in my sanctum. That way, if we need to speak, I'll have you close at hand. As long as you're here, feel free to tour the temple grounds. See what we've done, what we're doing, changes we're making to the Court of Swords. And I think you'll find that our new system is very different from the one foisted on you by heaven. Take some time to get to know my servants, the people of this temple, and in a few days, I should have an answer for you. We'll take very good care of you here. Don't worry.
I will wait 2 days. No longer. If you don't have an answer, or my audience is denied, then I'll know what to do from there.
Of course. Now,
About that.
Yeah, like you both are like, so that thing outside.
Yeah. About that group out there, I spied them out the window. Odd-looking bunch. seem to have you a little rattled.
Not at all. Just unexpected results of something I put in motion earlier. They're assets of my masters. She scowls slightly and sort of purses her lips and says, and Vandals quite liked that manner.
What did they do to it?
That is one of a large number of questions on a growing list I'm building. I've given them the chance to go and rest in the dormitories, but when they're done, I fully plan to interrogate them. You're welcome to speak to them if you wish. She nods.
Oh.
Of course. Well, you can speak to them yourself if you wish. But, as you said, they're strange, unpredictable. Be careful. This place may seem like a safe place, but, well, you know what they say, the jungle's just outside the walls.
Say interrogate.
If you'll excuse me. She stands up like, I'm done talking, so we're done talking. And yeah, and she stands and gives you just the most like perfunctory of bows. Like she just barely touches her fingers together and like glides her head slightly and then just like turns like, excuse me. and
as she's walking away,
yeah.
The pipe tobacco has been used up.
Yeah.
He just follows her out with his eyes and just taps it out on the floor.
Nice. The servant. So I guess the last shot of the scene is that servant like looking, and their displeasure is only evidenced just in their eyes. They manage to keep a straight face otherwise, but they glance down at the ash on the floor and just make a face like guests. So meanwhile, Berg, Ramus, Maharib, and the body of Unnamed return to the dormitories, I presume, to your childhood home, Ramus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the dormitories are crowded as hell, right? Like there are workers and overseers and stuff that share this space. It's crammed full of like beds, basically, some being used by people who are asleep during the day and work at night. Basically, they've got work crews all day and all night, all the time, like fixing the place up and like doing whatever, running the re-education camp, making food. And so when you come in, just the smell of human closeness is all around you. Because remember, it's out in the jungle, right? So it's probably like brutally hot. Yeah, everybody smells sweaty and like pungent peasants. And so you walk in and, maybe find like some beds. Everything's pretty crowded in here. I think somebody like shoves past you and they don't even notice that you're, a big half orc and a cleric with a burned face and a giant. They're just like, nope, I got to get to bed, get out of the way. And so there is this kind of like generalized grumbling. But as with people who are used to growing up in tight spaces like this, everybody's quite good at ignoring everybody for the sake of imagined privacy. So while you're surrounded by humans, sleeping and eating and grooming and moving around, nobody really notices you. They're all sort of background hum. So there you are.
It's pretty easy to get a bed.
No, not at all. You don't looking here. You don't see any that are like free.
Okay. Dan, you're gonna say something.
If we don't have a bed yet, then I'm like, Berg, we need a bed. You know what to do.
What?
Grrr, scare them a little bit.
Grr.
Oh God.
Arg.
Why don't you make us a palace? You did that before.
Well, the gods only give you the fountain only gives you so much energy a day, and I've expelled that part of energy of myself, so I have to reacquire it through the rest. Otherwise, I would.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This is where Berg met up with those people that he had soup with. Like, there was like a group of them that were like
Yeah,
named him the first.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Berg gives Ramus a look, and then just walks away and goes towards them.
So you want to go and find those dudes that you had the soup with? Yeah, like you shared a moment with some other people in the void, but I definitely remember you having a conversation here with like some workers.
Yeah, no, that was here. I'm pretty sure it was shortly after we arrived.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I remember.
Yeah,
things.
you see. Okay, so I think you look around, you're like, where are these guys? And you hear like a rattling sound, and then like a hollow kind of clap, and then you hear a couple of guys be like, ah, fuck, and then one guy like, hey, yeah, that's right, boys. And you look over, and off in one corner, you see three men in basically like sleeping clothes, like undershirts and like loincloths, because it's hot. Actually, they wouldn't even have shirts because it's hot, right? And you see them all squatted down around a back corner, like essentially a craps game. They're playing some kind of like dominoes thing, and you recognize one of them. He's got a kind of like little wispy mustache, and they all look pretty like sunburnt and tired, but they're playing this game over in the corner.
Yeah, we'll go over there.
Okay. All right. So you walk over, and your broad shoulders like block the light. And so one of them, without looking up, because they're all facing into the circle, one of them is like, hey, we need light to. Oh, and he turns around, and he looks at your knees, and then looks all the way up and sees Berg, the Jolly Green Giant. He looks all the way up, and he sees you, and he's like, whoa, hey, I know you. And he gets up. You want to play?
No. Not now. Just tired. Hungry. Remember you had soup once. Very good.
He looks at you as if noticing like your injuries and stuff for the first time, and he squints. He's like, whoa, you look like you spent a night with Lee's sister. And Lee's like, fuck you, shut up, and like smacks him, and the two of them kind of like slap fight a little bit. And then he's like, he pushes him, the guy falls over, and the other two laugh at him and kind of like pull him away, and he looks back at you, and he says, yeah, soup. Well, if you're hungry, and he points, he's like, the kitchen's open, or it will be soon. What time is it? Dinner? Breakfast? Anyway, they'll have food for you if you're here doing work. I don't know. You're working for the mistress, aren't you? Something special?
Something like that.
Oh, then just go. Go to the communal eating area. Go to the kitchen. Flex those big arms of yours. I'm sure they'll give you rations. It's not very good, but that's what the farms are for, or will be, when we can get things to grow around here.
Do you all have an area where some might sleep, even if it's ground? Trying not to sleep amongst the hot mess of flesh.
Yeah, and he looks around and he stands up and he like brushes off. He says, "Oh, you haven't been re-educated yet, have you? This kind of environment, it's good for us. Builds community. This way we are close to others, like a family. My family's big, but not this big. I swear, my sister has 12 kids." He like looks over at Lee, and Lee's like, "Don't you fucking say it. Don't you dare." And he looks back at you, and he's like, "I don't even need to," like he just kind of gestures like Lee's sister. We don't even talk about
it.
her. Yeah, you know what's up. And he says, so you just sort of have to wait until somebody's done sleeping and just get in there. Nobody owns anything around here. That's how it works. So this bed," and he points, there's somebody sleeping in it, and they like fart loudly and roll over, and it's like, This bed, it doesn't belong to him. Filthy ox. It belongs to the camp. To all of us. He's just using it right now. So you can take any of these beds if you want. You just have to wait until nobody else is in them.
All right.
Or, and he looks at you, big guy like you, even in bad shape like that, I bet you could make room.
Berg like thinks for a second, like, yeah, fuck, back to Ramus's idea, you know?
Yeah.
He's still fucking
and
exhausted.
now,
He just didn't
can
want
you
to bother with
make
it.
make an insight check for me, Berg?
Okay. It's gonna be 32.
Chances are very low. You will roll a 32.
Damn it.
Okay. You have
That's
no
a
idea what
5.
these guys are thinking. But you look and you notice all three of them have stopped paying attention to whatever they're doing and they're looking up at you. One of them is like scratching his chin. And maybe you've seen they're trying to decide something like as a group, and they kind of keep looking at each other like, okay. And the guy that you're talking to, he stands up. I don't think you caught any of these guys' names before. This guy stands up and he says, leans in all conspiratorially, and he says, listen, you're a big guy. You've got that big hammer and that armor, and I'm not trying to get you into any trouble or anything, but big guys like you, they get what they want around here. Me and these two, we mostly just stay out of everybody's way. A little gambling, a little drinking. We're not supposed to do either, but you know how it goes. Man's got to keep entertained. So if you wanted to join our little club, we'd be happy to have you. We could show you around. Make sure you get the food you need. You sound like you could use some guides. Isn't that right, boys? And the other guys are like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we can help you out, man. So you do something for us. We do something for you. Like a family, huh? And he smiles, and he's got all these, like, just, his teeth are so bad. Like, just gross peasant teeth. Huh?
Berg like cocks an eyebrow. He walks away.
You just walk off.
Yep.
And so they're just like, oh man, like you, and I think you hear them kind of griping in peasant common, and one of them is like, you fucked it up. He totally would have gone for it. You pushed too hard. And he's like, I did not. You got to give it time. I've planted the seeds. Now we have to let them grow. And he's like, what do you know about growing seeds? You're a mason. And he's like, I trained to be a mason. It doesn't mean I don't understand the dirt. And they just start fucking bickering at each other as you walk off.
Yeah. Berg walks away. And in his mind,
Maybe they too want to be my family. Perhaps I'll leave Ramus forever.
no, he goes back to Ramus.
Friendship with Ramus is over. Okay.
When Berg walks away, Maharib like looks.
Yeah.
at the
Meanwhile.
room. Yeah. Maharib like looks
Sure.
at the room and just sees that this is hopeless. And I think maybe he got there a couple seconds before because he left prior to Ramus and Berg leaving.
Okay.
And so I've seen the room and made the assessment, and I'm on the way out probably as like Berg is leaving, and I just turn and look at Ramus and I'll be back in a day or two. Don't leave town. Make sure that they don't do anything to her body. You owe me that at least.
Where are you going?
I need to go find one of my people. Figure out what happened.
Oh, very well. I'll do what I can. Be safe, Maharib. You're not looking too good right now.
I'll be fine. I'll see you in a couple days. Then I'm going to leave the dormitory and go to the plaza and use something that...
Yeah, the dormitory, basically, if it's connected to the plaza, it's in the plaza. Like, the plaza really is like a square that's drawn around everything except for the statuary garden, the re-education camp, and the archway out, right? Like all of those buildings are inside the plaza. So you walk out of the dormitory, and again, that kind of like sweet, hot, humid jungle air fills your nostrils. It's a lot better than the stink
air.
of flesh that's jammed in that dorm. And yeah, from here you can see all of the ruined and semi-ruined buildings, the wall kind of partly knocked over, and off to one side you see the beautiful sun tower glinting in the sunlight. The only part of it that's been still untouched.
I'm going to use rustic hospitality. I haven't used this since like the first day of this character.
Yeah.
It says that since I come from the ranks of the common folk, I can fit in with them with ease. So can I just like find a place to stay here for a night on the fringe of town and then ask around to see if anyone knows any Goliaths in the area?
I mean, you already found a place to rest. It's just that there's a lot of people in here.
Is that the
There's
only
not a lot of
place? I
beds.
can't like.
That's the only place. Like it's a
Are there any
military
families
camp,
or anything?
right?
Oh, so it's military camp.
Yeah, like they've basically occupied. They laid siege to the monastery, killed all the monks, killed all the priests, did some with them. God knows where those bodies are, and then they occupied it, and now they're rebuilding all the shit they knocked over when they took it over. So it's also a beacon, as with all these camps, for all of the peasants in the local area who want to join the army of the Necromancer King. So they all come here. So as before, like you remember when you came in, there were all those people out at the archway, like trying to get in.
Yeah.
So there's like crowds and stuff over there, and they're sleeping, but they're outside the walls. You could just walk out into the jungle and like make camp, but you're pretty badly beaten up, and just like wandering out in the jungle by yourself might not be the smartest move.
Right.
That occurs to you, but you can still do it if you want.
Could I use rustic hospitality then to see if there are any Goliaths here that might know of any other Goliaths around here, camps that are up in the other sections of the forest or up closer in the mountains or anything like that? Because I know the Embers are like 2 or 3 days away. They
would know, yeah. Like nobody down here, because we talked before about how Goliaths, like especially in the Court of Swords, is pretty much just dwarves and humans. And looking around, it's mostly humans. You don't see a lot of dwarves in this camp, maybe 1 or 2. And so you look around. You could ask, and they would treat you well, and people would be like, "Oh, you're one of us. You look big and scary, and you got that cool weapon and stuff, but like I can see you. You have the heart of a peasant, right? So you can just naturally like be friendly with, and they'll recognize, and you'll fit in. But right now they are all basically eating and working, or eating, working, and being re-educated, or being re-educated until they are capable of working and eating again, right? So, yeah.
Are there any shops
you
that
can
have
fit in?
like a like the shop also functions as their place of rest, like their house in the military camp or anything like that? Because
personal property is illegal in this camp.
oh, that's right.
There's no money. Like nobody has money. They're not getting paid for their work.
Well, shit. I should have asked you about this because I forgot all your DM bullshit, and now it's just like ruin the scene.
Yeah, I mean, rustic hospitality is good. Like you can leave theoretically if you want,
but I'll just walk out
and then camp and head north into the mountains, or head northwest, I guess, into the mountains.
I guess I'll do that and chance it. If my character dies, I see you in 2 day, Adam, and we're staying in the same room. So
you're like, I'm sharpening my knife on the break. So okay. Now I'm terrified for my life. So you do you want to walk out the front door? Do you go back through the hall of worship, through the garden, and out the front door, or do you just pick a hole in the wall and just go through it?
I'd go through the front door. There's no reason to be like secretive or anything about it. Like I walk out the way that I came into the place.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you walk back into the hall of worship where all the statues have been like removed or destroyed, back out through the garden, past the re-education camp, and out to the entrance. And there are, as before, armed guards here, but mostly they're facing out. And they're like checking people's papers and harassing people and like all that stuff. They kind of look at you when you come up, and one of them turns around, and they have like lamellar armor and spears and helmets, and it's all painted like black or green. The guard turns as he hears you coming, and he looks up at you, and he's like, "Where are you going?" There's nothing but jungle out there.
There's space to sleep. Dormitories are full.
And squints. So you're gonna go sleep in the jungle?
For a time, yes. What does it matter to you? Aren't you guarding the gates?
Yeah, and he shakes his head. He says, "Oh, it doesn't matter to me. It's your funeral."
Yeah, I keep walking by when he says that.
Okay. Yeah. And you just like walk and you push your way through kind of the crowd of people up at the front, and they like look up at you. And I think that there are this scene. Everyone, this is really interesting because everyone outside who has been waiting to get into the monastery has this image of like the necromancer king and like this the king of Black Rivers, right? Our savior, the person who threw off our yoke of oppression, who's rebuilding the Court of Swords into its own thing. And they see this pale mountain of a man emerge from this holy place carrying a black and green axe and like walking with this look in your eyes of like, I've seen some shit, and they just like look at you with awe, right? Like,
I think I also have a
yes,
giant
like it's very
7-foot sword that's wrapped on my back as
yeah,
well.
right. You're very impressive, and so like all these peasants look at you like, whoa, yes, see, like this is why we came here. This is the kind of force that the Necromancer King has behind him. We've come to the right place, and so a lot of people are like nodding, and maybe a couple of like filthy peasant hands reach out to like touch you as you go by, like one might a living saint. How do you react to that, Maharib?
Remember that scene in which one? It might have been in the Justice League, but no, because he was dead in that. It was in the Superman movie where like Superman lands and all the people like reach their hands out towards him, and he's just like standing there looking all buff, not giving a fuck. It's exactly that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you just walk by as they like touch you and
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, like I'm not there. I'm not appreciating it, and I'm not going to stop them. Like it doesn't insult me or anything. I'm just trying to get out of the mass of people.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's not hard. They treat you with respect and awe, and they move out of your way. They make a clear path for you and kind of watch after you. And I think this whole thing, like if it's shot, this would be all shot in slow motion, right? As they like watch you, and it'd be all super HDR. It's very impressive. And so you walk past. And so we cut back to Berg and Ramus, an unnamed body. What are you gonna do?
How is this place lit? Is it like torches or like campfires or
it's
windows?
The Monastery of the Sun. It's the Monastery of the Sun. So like if it's at all possible, they avoid artificial light. So there'd just be like sunroofs. And if it gets dark, that's your sign to go the fuck to bed. And then the sun comes back up, get up, because the sun said so. You're also pretty far south too. And like, because of the way that like, it's sunny here a lot. There aren't like, 18-hour long nights or anything. So you'd get a fair amount of work, but because it's a monastery of the sun, they're very tied to the cycle of sun. Obviously, scholars that need to work at night or whatever would have, candles or whatever in their rooms. But for the most part, if it's light, it's light. If it's dark, it's dark. And that's how it goes.
Okay. Berg, how badly do you want to sleep?
Or like looks at you like, look at me.
Would you be okay if I scared some people away?
Yes.
As I hear rumors that this place has bad spirits. And I use thaumaturgy to start creating ominous whispers in the corner where people are sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And things start to slide around, and they feel tremors beneath them. They keep hearing whispers.
Okay. All right. And the intention is to like just intimidate some people to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, scare some of the peasants out of the way so we can
Yeah, I
find a
like
place to
it.
sleep.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, make a it's like kind of like it's a performance role, but like also it's kind of intimidation, but you're not intimidating them, like you're using magic to do it.
Magique.
It's intimidation, but you can use your wisdom modifier instead of your charisma because you're using magic.
Okay.
Yeah. So you might have to do that manually. We'll see how intimidating it is. Did you roll, Dan? There it is.
24.
Hell yeah. Fucking 24. Okay. So most of the people in here are too exhausted to notice. Even if it was haunted, they'd be like, shut up, ghost. I have to work. Go back to sleep. But I think as your mysterious spookiness spreads throughout the dormitory, a lot of people just ignore it or don't notice it. But then there's a group of there's like a family at the back. They're like, huh, ghosts? You didn't say anything about ghosts. I hate this place. And the wife gets up and she's like, we're leaving. And the husband is like, no, it's not haunted. You're just seeing things. And he like chases her out. And there is a moment where there are two bunks that are open that nobody is sitting on. And immediately, as soon as that happens, you can see other people like turn their eyes towards it as if like a group of hyenas spotting a kill, right? And they all just kind of look like, free bed, free bed.
Berg walks up. Yeah, Berg walks very pointedly towards those beds.
So you like walk over, like, okay. Do you just like go sit down on the bed? They're next to each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go sit down on one, and there's a guy nearby who's looking at the other one, and I think he puts his like hands on the edge of it and starts like moving to go sit on it. He just takes his hands off the bed and just like, sorry. I just thought I would try. Okay, goodbye. He just like goes back away from you, and and so there you go. Now, Ramus, you have you have a bunk you can sleep in too. What are you going to do with this dead body that you're carrying around?
I wrap her in a sheet, and I perform gentle repose on her body, so that she's protected from decay and becoming undead for 10 days. Her body itself.
So this is a ritual. It takes a minute then to cast. It has verbal, somatic, and material components. Do you do it here? Like in the dormitory?
Yeah, I do it and I do the quick version where I use a spell slot to cast it even faster than normal.
All right. Make a religion check for me. Not to see if you can cast it.
Not
to see if you can cast it, but I want to
on magic here.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. So
25.
Okay. All right. And yeah, as Berg pointed out, like, yeah, casting spells is like generally not allowed. But so people, you cast it, it's quick. And I think most people don't notice. They're either asleep or too busy with their own stuff. But when you finish the spell, Ramus, you notice there's a woman. She has one arm. It's like cut off at the elbow. She has one arm. She's dressed like like everybody here. They get the like most basic of clothes and then whatever else they need to work. She has short hair that's cut really poorly. Like it looks like it was just like hacked off, kind of at the ears. And She has a scar that runs from the bottom of her mouth down her neck and like disappears under her like shirt. And she's just staring at you. She's got these like deep amber eyes, dark skin, like she's been working out in the field her whole life. And she's sitting on another bunk, just staring at you.
I make an insight check to like see what her deal is. Like if she's giving me a look of anger or
Yeah, totally. Yeah, make the roll.
14.
Insight, you got 14. Okay. I'm gonna roll because I think 14's in the nebulous zone. Ooh, you tied. You got it exactly. So, she wants to talk to you, but she is afraid to. There is like something on her mind that she wants to say to you, but
I look at her and I'm like, did someone die? Did you lose someone?
make a persuade check.
13.
Are you priest?
Well, my relationship with the gods is a complicated matter, but I know their ways.
You can say the prayers and perform the rituals, right?
Yes, if I need to.
They killed the priest in my village. I understand why they had to, why he was wrong. But my brother, we didn't get to have a funeral for him. And I am worried about what will happen to his soul.
Well, there's what the religions of our world tell us. And then there's the truth of the matter. And in my experience, the things we mortals do to bodies isn't as important as we would like it to believe. The gods do what they want. Your brother will be fine. Whether a man in a robe blesses him or not, his spirit will live on. It's important, though, that he lives on in you, though. That is where he will live truly forever, is in your memories.
The priest said that following our destiny was all that mattered, and then the king came and told us a new way of thinking, that heaven was wrong and that the priests were meant to die, that the gods are false. Is that true? And if it is, how is it that you can cast these spells you do? Why? I don't understand.
Shh. You need to just breathe. Don't forget to breathe. It's a lot to take in, I know. But the king is right about one thing. Heaven's laws and words are only true because they made them so. They are fallible. Not everything they say is truth. I tap into the power that they claim is only theirs, in spite of them, because it's a lie, one of many. I believe that there is truth on both sides of the light and the dark. Harmony is the answer.
She's nodding while you're talking. Was it heaven's will that I be born to parents that did not want me, in a village with not enough food? Was it heaven's will I lost my arm? That my father beat me? Did heaven do this to me?
Heaven plays with us like toys. They like to watch us squirm and react to the stimulus they give to us. It's all a game to them. They watch over us like school children over a bug, poking at us, pulling our wings, all while sitting up there looking down on us like they're superior.
And yet, you're able to harness their power to do whatever it is you're doing here. I saw that magic. But the words you speak, you sound like no priest. Have you stolen this power from them?
You can't steal what isn't theirs. The power they stole from the world was never theirs to begin with. It was ours. They stole it from us.
You are very wise. What is your name, priest of no gods?
I am known as the burnt, the undying, Ramus Krill, priest of harmony.
She reaches out with her good hand, and she puts it to her chest, and she says, "I would follow your new way, Ramus Krill, if you would have me."
I don't need to have you, my dear, for we are the same. You and I are mankind, and we have to overthrow our rulers in order to truly be free. We are starting something today that will ripple through all of time.
She's like nodding fervently, and she says, if there is anything that you need from me, I'm done with my re-education. I work in the camp. I help some of the masons rebuild the wall, the temple. I am skilled. I may not look it. My name is Somchai. She puts her hand out.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Sanchai. And the thing we need most right now is rest. If you could just keep watch and make sure we're not disturbed. We need to recover our strength.
She stands, and I think she turns and looks at that guy who tried to like sneak into the bunk before, and she looks at him, and he kind of looks up at her, and she just does that like lunge at him to get him to flinch, and he like runs off, and she nods, and she looks at you, and she says, "Sleep, Ramus." I will watch over you. No one will take your
Thank you.
things while you rest.
Thank you, my child. Let us rest, Berg. It's been a long journey.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you
Burnt.
and when you
Dying.
say that,
Let's rest.
yeah, when you say that, I think we start to slowly fade out in the episode. The two of you like finally lie down to rest, and Samchai, brave defender, stands ready to fuck with anybody who fucks with Ramus and Berg.
Great.
We fade out.
Don't forget to use promo code Harmony on your Squarespace. 20% off. Oh, God. We're going to take a break. We still got 2 hours left to Court of Swords, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more right after this. We'll see you guys then.